Welcome to Whatever Happened to Pizza at McDonald's, the investigative journalism program where I ask the question, whatever happened to the pizza at McDonald's? I'm your host, Brian Thompson. I would like to begin today's program by thanking you, the listeners, for the tremendous success of my overnight stealth camping expedition in a McDonald's parking lot. It is because of your generous donations to my $12 crowdfunding campaign that I was able to successfully park my car and watch for any kind of nefarious activity that might occur under cover of darkness. It was my suspicion that the McDonald's Corporation, or whatever force even more powerful than the McDonald's Corporation that seeks to continue the suppression of McDonald's pizza, might send agents to various McDonald's restaurants during the night to make sure no pizza activities have resumed. I observed no such nefarious activity, though I did observe a young man being driven to the McDonald's parking lot so he might stumble out of the back seat of a car and vomit on the pavement. I would classify this activity as somewhat nefarious, as he made no effort to clean up the vomit. But, in his defense, he deposited his vomit in a somewhat sparsely trafficked area of the parking lot, and there was quite a bit of time before the morning breakfast rush. It is very likely the vomit did not linger long enough to cause inconvenience to another customer, as the nighttime environment is rife with scavengers who would have naturally disposed of such a regurgitated feast. Such is the circle of life. But even though I observed no pizza suppression activity, I do consider my stealth camping expedition to be a tremendous success. Some have challenged this claim, since I could not fulfill my plan to remain at my campsite until the crow of a cock, on account of I was asked to leave the premises at 1:30 a.m. But I have two responses to this criticism. Number one, if you do not have anything nice to say, it is probably best to metaphorically zip your literal lips. And number two, I finished my evening by traveling to the Denny's diner next door and conducting some last-minute journalism. As Denny's is open all night, it stands to reason that the employees there would have observed any suspicious activity at the neighboring McDonald's. So I went inside and asked a kind server who was working behind the counter. Thankfully, she answered my question without insisting that I purchase any food. I was grateful for this, as I was still quite full from the 1/4 pound hamburger I consumed earlier in the evening, and also was somewhat queasy from witnessing the aforementioned vomit deposit. She told me that no, she had not observed any suspicious activity. So I consider my mission to be accomplished. I made this Denny's excursion after I had ended my live broadcast, but I did document it on hidden camera video, which I posted to both my Twitter.com and my Instagram accounts. While the Instagram Corporation was happy to host the video in the hopes it would drive viewers to its struggling service, the Twitter censors determined that my investigative journalism was not investigative journalism at all, but was instead what they called intimate video shared without the participants' consent, aka revenge porn. I do not understand how this determination was made, as my video is not porn, revenge, or otherwise. I appealed the decision, but while the company convened its tribunal of content judges, I was locked out of my account for a period of 11 hours. This was infuriating for several reasons, mostly because I have become somewhat chemically addicted to receiving favorable acknowledgments of my posts. But, in other ways, it was almost tantamount to a proverbial blessing in disguise, as I spent most of my day largely free of the agony of being presented with pictures of several things and told I must pick one to keep and the others have to go. Ultimately, I was exonerated and received an apology from the Twitter Corporation for the misunderstanding. However, this was not until after I was forced to delete the video of my Denny's expedition. If you would like to view it, it is still available on my Instagram at instagram.com/pizza@mcd's. And let this be a lesson to future video journalists. If you post your findings to Twitter, there is a good chance one of their censorious artificial intelligences might find it titillating enough to classify as porn. Moving on, I recently came across some reporting by my colleagues at the Wall Street Journal about a data breach that the McDonald's Corporation suffered at some of its computer fortresses in the United States, South Korea, and Taiwan. As far as I have been able to read, nothing particularly interesting was stolen. For example, any information concerning pizza operations, etc. The only data that suffered exposure was relatively trivial information such as franchisee contact numbers, square footage of individual restaurants, and the social security numbers of several thousand employees. But one aspect of this story piqued my interest. According to reports, this data breach was perpetrated by cyber criminals called hackers. Hackers are extremely antisocial vigilantes who metaphorically surf the figurative waves of the proverbial information superhighway in search of symbolic backdoors into literal computer mainframes that they might metaphorically hack through using the figurative axes of their high-baud modems. The hacker's detachment from the normal rules and expectations of society is symbolized by their physical appearance, which often includes bold, unnatural hair coloring, body piercings in extremely private places like the nose, nipples, or belly button, and clothes that include quite an unnecessary number of day-glow rubber straps. Instead of consuming foods that fall within the recommended nutritional guidelines of the FDA, such as pizza, etc., the hacker subsists on senses-heightening consumables such as nacho cheese Doritos, Chipotle-flavored corn nuts, and semi-narcotic sodas such as Surge. The hacker has no use for normal computer hardware. Instead of using a mouse, keyboard, and monitor to check their electronic mail, the hacker will don a 70-pound biofeedback suit and a virtual reality helmet twice the size of their head. Where you and I might simply point and click to read our messages, the hacker will assume the role of a multi-polygonal avatar and walk through the library stacks of cyberspace until they find a virtual filing cabinet labeled My Emails, which, after only a few expertly timed twitches of their bio-glove-clad fingers, their avatar will open to reveal the files inside. Whereas you or I might simply click a box to label unwanted messages as spam, the hacker will remove those nuisance cyber files and bring them to a severely mutated avatar called the Data Broker, who sits on a throne of skulls at the center of the Digi-library, eating those bothersome files, metabolizing their raw data, and secreting it as waste. I myself am not a hacker, and for good reason. For one thing, I cannot afford to purchase an entirely new rubber wardrobe. And for another, hacking is a criminal activity. Or is it? Yes, it is true that some hackers enjoy stealing data for their own personal benefit. In the case of the aforementioned McDonald's hackers, I am sure they made quite a healthy profit from stealing the identities of McDonald's employees and clearing their bank accounts of literal tens of dollars. But there is another kind of hacker that operates within a legal gray area. These hackers are not motivated by personal profit, but by the challenge of infiltrating cybersecurity systems and the curiosity about what sorts of secret information they may reveal on the other side. These hackers are, at worst, anti-heroes, dashing rogues with proverbial hearts of gold like Captain Jack Sparrow, Robin of the Hood, or John Hinckley. And sometimes in the course of doing journalism, one has to decide whether it is within ethical standards to engage in legally questionable activities if it serves the public interest. After much internal debate, I have decided that the benefit to society of learning as much about McDonald's pizza as possible far outweighs the disadvantages of potentially being labeled a metaphorical, loose cannon, mischief maker, or cybercriminal. If there is any relevant information to be found on the McDonald's Corporation's mainframes, it would actually be a violation of my oath as a journalist not to do everything within my power to uncover it. With that in mind, I decided to contact an expert who might be able to train me to become a hacker.
Geek Squad. Our Geek Squad team members are specialized in different areas. So please tell me which of the following you're calling about: repairs, tech support, installations, deliveries, billing, protection plan, internet security software, or tell me what I can help you with.
Internet security software?
Thank you for contacting Geek Squad. My name is Agent Andrew. Before we get started, can you please help me with your full name and phone number?
Certainly, Agent Andrew. My full name is Brian Thompson. That's Brian with one R. And my telephone number is 38.
And is this the best number to reach you at in case your call gets disconnected?
I don't know if I would call it the best, but it is the only number.
Okay. Perfect. Dr. Brian, thanks for having verified your account details. How may I assist you today?
As I said, my name is Brian Thompson, and I was wondering if a member of the Geek Squad might be able to teach me the art of hacking. Hello?
Yes, Brian, it's quite interesting. So I've never come across this kind of query. This is my first call. And I would like to, yes, I can understand your, and I also appreciate your interest on hacking.
Thank you.
That is ethical hacking. Okay, now just give me a moment.
Certainly.
Sorry for making you hold on the call for a long time, Brian.
Apology accepted.
As far as concerned, Best Buy will not provide any such facilities. You will have to get yourself enrolled into any coaching center or any institute where they teach you ethical hacking. Unfortunately, we do not provide that coaching in Best Buy.
Oh, ethical hacking, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so if I have the choice between an ethical hacking academy and a non-ethical, I should choose the ethical?
No, you do not have something called non-ethical. That's non-ethical is illegal, right? So that's why we call it as ethical hacking. In the sense, we can work in a legitimate company for ethical usage of hacking. So if you are using hacking for a wrong purpose, then that is unethical. That will not be,
okay.
entertained by the government.
Okay. Well, I wanted to figure out how I could perhaps, I don't know, be taught the tools that I need to hack into the McDonald's Corporation mainframe for suppressed information about pizza. So I won't be using it for anything illegal. But I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again? Agent?
My name is Agent Andrew.
Agent Andrew. That is
Right.
quite a cool name. Is that a hacking name?
Oh, you make me feel, special. Okay, so it's my name. So
okay.
Maybe some hackers may have such names, similar names.
Okay. I just thought it was a particularly cool name, so I thought maybe it was your hacker name, but that's okay. Okay, so I will just I guess call the registrar of a reputable hacking university. Do you have any recommendations?
Unfortunately, you want me to recommend, is it?
If you have any recommendations for a hacking school, ethical, of course.
Well, what I can do is, because I'm located in India, it's one of our customers' service centers.
Mm-hmm.
So you're located in USA. So I will not be able to recommend any specific institutions, right? So because of the geological location difference.
Oh, I see.
So what you can do is you can Google it. You can Google it and search for the ethical hacking institutions or universities, and also look for the reviews and the testimonials of the students or the trainees who previously had completed the training on the particular institution, which you will be reviewing on Google, right?
Yes.
So and in such way you can you can find yourself which is the best university or a coaching center for you to get enrolled and start learning ethical hacking.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your candor. This is all very helpful. As you could probably gather, I'm not yet a hacker, but I do know how to use Google, so I will be able to do that.
Sure. And Brian, are there any further questions for me?
I do not believe so. Thank you again.
Okay, Brian. Yes. In that case, I hope I've answered all your questions to your satisfaction. And based on our interaction, you'll be getting a short email survey. I would like you to find some time and give your valuable feedback on that. That means a lot to us.
I will block out some time on my calendar.
Sure. Okay, Brian, thanks for contacting into Geek Square today. It was a pleasure assisting you and nice talking to you. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
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 Bye.
Bye now.
Brian, you can go ahead and disconnect the call.
Oh, I should hang up. Okay, I'll hang up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Prodigy makes your PC a powerful tool.
And listen, there's even an encyclopedia.
Awesome. I do my shopping at home.
Pay my bills.
And I can learn something new.
Prodigy even has a 21-volume electronic encyclopedia that's updated quarterly.
All right, Prodigy.
Just press a couple of keys.
Prodigy connects your computer to sports, news, shopping, and an encyclopedia that never goes out of date, all for only $12.95 a month, including 30 messages.
You have just got to get this thing.
It's even got an encyclopedia.
Prodigy.
In stores everywhere.
Do you know what happened to pizza at McDonald's? Do you remember it? Please send all correspondence to pizza@mcdonalds@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at pizza@McD's, and purchase my best-selling book, How to Be an Investigative Journalist, at howtobeaninvestigativejournalist.com. To support the show, please visit my Patreon at patreon.com/pizza@McD's for exclusive podcasts and other benefits. Thank you to my invaluable Patreon producers, Isabella Zelaskowski, Joe Kajik, Kimberly King, Kyle Turok, Pam Gabriel, Will, Andrew Duffy, Billy Jean, Brad Allen Thompson, Felix Dooley, Jay Poop, Calvin Thomas, Kat Resney, Laurel Paul, Mel, Opus Mareshi, Ridian Mistelli, Ryan Guggenmoss, Sage W., Andrew Ahmed Johnson Rubin, Mitchell Kordick, and Marshall Deere. I'm Brian Thompson, investigative journalist.